The sub 115 half marathon is probably one of the most competitive, toughest barriers you're going to face. And I know a lot of you that are trying to run 1:14:59, you already know that you have to hold 5:43 mile pace for 13.1 miles or 3:33 per kilometer for 21.1 kilometers. And going from say a 1:16 down to a 1:14:59, or maybe you're closer to the goal of breaking sub 115 for the half marathon, it all comes down to the amount of time you're spending running at or below this pace. A sub 115 half marathon is equivalent to a 2:36:50 for the half marathon, 33:56 for 10K, a 16:21 for 5K, or 10:11 for 2 miles. So if you're anywhere near those particular efforts, your chances of running a sub 115 are definitely there. Okay, now I always talk about that there is no racing calculator out there that can measure the power of the mind and the drive and motivation of athletes. Athletes that are trying to break a sub 115 half marathon definitely have to make sure that those long runs are quality, that you're not running easy every single weekend like I always talk about. I think just changing up that particular tactic in your preparation is very, very key, and definitely helped me. I mean, I ran my PR when I was in college for the half marathon was 1:13:40, and I dropped that down to 1:07:06 for the half marathon. So I do understand the complexities of running a sub 115, and some of the things that I did that I hope will help you was, one, making sure that my long run really tested me physiologically. I mean, I like the fact that what helped me the most in terms of those long runs was I was always running at really fast, intense efforts, but I would always mix up the paces. There were, say I did a 20-mile run training for the half marathon. Again, you want to run further than your goal race. So in this case, if you're trying to run a sub 115 half, not only do you have to get comfortable with running at that 5:43 mile pace or 3:33 kilometer pace, but spend a longer period of time. If you can get that long run lengthened out to say 18 to 20 miles, think how easy 13 miles is going to feel. It does help you psychologically and mentally in terms of knowing going into your goal half marathon that you've run much, much further than you're trying to race at. But the key thing is improving the body's lactate tolerance, your ability to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up, so that again you can sustain that 5:43 mile pace or 3:33 kilometer pace from start all the way to the finish. If you're going after a sub 115, speed definitely plays a part. So you definitely have to focus on doing say you're doing repeat kilometers on the track. Maybe start off doing those Ks on the track at around 3:32, around your threshold effort, and then working your way down to where you can get those repeat Ks on the track completed in, say, 3 minutes to 3:05 per rep. Okay, we always start off a longer build-up. 16 to 20 weeks for a half marathon is optimal time frame for you to prepare properly to run a sub 115 half marathon. Obviously, your pacing in the race is absolutely essential. My recommendation is always run a negative split, but get out fast, get out hard. Okay, we can practically run all out for 200 meters in an all-out sprint and not build up any lactic acid. So it is important to get out very fast and very hard in the race, but then settle into the pace. Remember, this is 5:43 mile pace, 3:33 K pace, so there's no need in running that first half in 5:20 mile pace, okay? Where are you at in that second half? Okay, if you're going to run 5:20 pace, or say like around 3:19 kilometer pace, do that in the second half of your half marathon, so that again, you increase your chances of sustaining sub 115 half marathon pace. And because, again, you didn't go out too anaerobic in the first half and blow up in the second half, okay? And don't think that you're going to run a half marathon this fast without drinking and taking in calories in the race. So put a gel in each side of your shorts prior to the start of the race. And in most half marathon races, they usually hand out a gel around miles 7 or 8. So that's an additional 300, anywhere from 300 to 450 calories of glucose, glycogen that you're ingesting by taking in between, around 3 gels throughout that half marathon race. Your nutrition, your hydration, the calories that you're ingesting in the race will also definitely help you run a sub 115 half marathon. Obviously, there's no way around this. You do have to be in phenomenal aerobic and anaerobic shape to run a sub 115. The types of workouts that I was doing over the years was 10, training for the half marathon and trying to run under this barrier was 10 times 1K on the track. At the beginning of my buildup, I would usually give myself around 2 to 3 minutes of recovery. And then when I was very, very fit, I would give myself around 45 seconds to 60 seconds recovery between each one of my reps. And again, if you're trying to break a 115, start off conservative in your buildup. Okay, if you're doing, say, 8 to 10 1K reps, maybe start off, like I said, running around 332 per rep. Okay, and giving yourself maybe 2 to 3 minutes rest. And then when you're midway through your buildup, maybe work on running your efforts much faster. 3 minutes to 3:05 with around 45 seconds to 60 seconds rest in between each one. That is not going to be easy even if you're in phenomenal shape. But again, we do want to work on training at paces that are significantly faster than sub 115 half marathon pace, so that again we get that race pace to feel easier for us and we don't blow up so early in the race. Yes, you can be in phenomenal shape, do the proper training, and still be in great pain in the latter stages of your races. That's normal. The goal here is not to be flatlining in the early miles or the early kilometers of your race. The other types of workouts that were really helpful for me preparing for my half marathons and marathon races was 16 400s. Okay, and for an athlete that's trying to break a sub 115 half, that means for you trying to start off, I would recommend starting off around 117 to 118 per 400 meter rep, giving yourself about 2 minutes of rest between each reps. And then again, the longer you go into your buildup, start working your way down to where you're doing those repeat 400s around 105 to 107 per rep with about 45 seconds to 60 seconds rest between each one of those repetitions. That is the key. There's no rest in between each one of these miles and kilometers that you're racing to break this sub 115 half marathon. Obviously, focus on finding flat courses. Okay, I ran my PR for the half marathon 107.06 in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia half marathon. I highly recommend you go to that race if you're in the States. Obviously, there's plenty of other fast, flat courses in Europe if you're in those parts of the world. But find a flat course. Obviously, there's no flat course out there that's fast if the athlete is not in phenomenal anaerobic shape. So definitely prepare well. Do a 10-day taper rather than starting to drop your intensity and volume 3 weeks out leading into your goal half marathon where you plan on breaking 115. I think that a big mistake that I made and a lot of athletes make around the world is they start dropping their intensity and their volume too soon. Okay, 10 days is plenty of time for your body to react and recover from the hard training you're doing. So don't start dropping that intensity until 10 days out from your race. Another key tactic I would recommend in you breaking this 115 half, just one last workout that I would recommend is doing a 5K or 3 miles at 5:43 mile pace or 3:33 kilometer pace 4 days out from your goal half marathon. Okay, that was a tactic that I used all throughout my career, and I continue to set new personal best using that. It's just one last reminder of reminding your legs of what you're training them to do, and then the last 3 days going into your goal race, it's really just about maintenance. Really, those last 10 days, it's just about maintenance workouts. Light, might be fartlek workouts, might be a short tempo run. Obviously, carbo loading the week of your goal race, not the night before. It's still important what you eat the night before. Pasta, some salad. Obviously, hydrating well the night before is key. But it is what you're doing the week leading into that goal half marathon that's going to set you up for success. So definitely pay attention to how you're hydrating and what you're eating the week of the race. Make sure you eat your breakfast 3 hours before the start of that half marathon. Okay, 2 hours minimum, but 3 hours preferably. That way you have plenty of time to go to the bathroom and get rid of that waste before you start the race. Don't fall into the trap of being forced to jump in a porta-john in the race when maybe you're in the lead with the lead Kenyans or the lead runners, and you have to jump that porta-john and ruin your time. But as I go back to speed training, repeat 800s, okay, I would always focus on doing between 8 to 10 800-meter reps on the track. And for somebody that's trying to run a sub 115 half, that might mean start running your first efforts around 249 to 250 per rep with around a 2-minute rest. And then again, working your way down to where you're doing those repeat 800s around 224 to 226 with 45 to 60 seconds of rest. Again, the key tactic here is to improve the body's lactate tolerance so that, again, you're becoming much more efficient, more effective at clearing lactic acid faster than it's building up. And be positive with your training and what you're telling yourself and what you're saying to yourself. Okay, know that in this build-up, a sub 115 half is really, in my opinion, an elite time. There's so few runners around the world that run 1:14:59 or faster for the half marathon, a very small percentage. So you're really going after a time that is in a very small select group of athletes. So continue to train at paces that are going to get that 5:43 mile pace or 3:33 kilometer pace to feel easier for you. If you're doing another workout, I highly recommend is doing those hill repetitions, finding a hill that's 200 to 300 meters, and every other week do a workout that's where you're really pumping your arms, you're forcing yourself to lift your knees and really focusing on your form and running at near all out efforts closer down toward your mile to 3K race pace. Again, that is going to recruit those fast twitch muscle fibers. That's going to eventually, over a long buildup, preferably, like I said, 16 weeks to 20 weeks for a half marathon is plenty of time to prepare properly to run a sub 115 half. There's nothing going to be easy about this. I only did this, I don't know how many times I broke the 115 barrier, probably around 10 to 15 times in my career, but it was never easy. So plan properly, find a strategic plan to follow. There are resources below all of my videos and as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com as well. I also coach athletes online monthly each month, so that may be something that you're interested in. But really focus on drilling down to the things that really matter the most. Obviously, jogging on easy days, making sure that you're recovering from the workouts you're doing, really emphasizing the speed aspect. Repeat 200, starting off doing those 200s, might be 10 to 20 200-meter reps, starting off at 39 seconds, very minimal rest, then working your way down to around 32 to 34 seconds per rep by the end. Again, you're running at paces that are obviously much, much faster than sub 115 half marathon pace, and that is what we want. Those long runs are absolutely critical. If you want to go from, say, a 117 to a 114.59 or a 120 to a 114.59, the further you are away from this goal, the more that's going to be required out of you. The closer you are, the more it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to run a sub 115. But if you change up your tactics, if you change up what you're thinking, if you change up the amount of time you're training at a higher anaerobic effort throughout your buildup, if you're running much more, versus if in the past you've been running maybe 20% of your weekly volume at goal half marathon race pace, then bumping that up to say 25 to 30% may drastically increase your chances of running a 1:14.59 or faster time. So again, it's again looking at all of the little fundamentals that go into running this time that's key. Am I running too long and too slow on my weekend long runs? Am I not running fast enough throughout the training week? Am I doing enough speed work to really get me to the results I'm seeking? Am I beating myself up over things that really don't matter? If a past race didn't go the way I want or the workouts just didn't go the way I want, am I really spending too much of my time focusing on past results? What matters most is the present, the things that we've learned, the things that we made mistakes on in the past. Make sure that you write down what you did wrong in that race. Did you go out way too fast in the first half and blow up? Did you try to run someone else's race? Did you not get enough sleep throughout the week? where you're worrying and over analyzing your race. These are things that we can correct. Okay, so that's some of the things I want you thinking about as you go toward this sub 1:15 half marathon barrier. There are training plans that I've created on RunDreamAchieve.com that will help you have a plan and know exactly what types of workouts you need to be doing on a daily, weekly basis. And so there are those resources there for you. So definitely check that out if that's something you're interested in, finding a plan that will help you get under this 1:15 barrier. Obviously, there are also running courses I've created for athletes that are trying to break the 2:30 marathon barrier. So that may be a next goal of yours, because once you break this sub 1:15 half marathon, you need to start thinking about, okay, I did this once. How can I do this back to back for 2 half marathons? And if you can do it for 1, you can definitely do it for 2. It's not going to be easy to do it for 2, but again, that's a mental barrier that we have to break. Once you do it the first time for the half, then you know, okay, I know I can do, I've done this for 13.1 miles or 21.1 kilometers. Now I know, and now I need to start thinking about how can I do it for 42.2 kilometers or 26.2 miles. So I hope this video was helpful in terms of how to run a sub 1:15 half marathon. I look forward to hearing about your new personal best, and I hope the resources below all of my videos, as well as on the RunDreamAchieve.com website, are helpful for you, as well as on this channel. So I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.